Ah, the power of love defeats the Demogorgons. Hello, everyone. My name is Philip, and I literally just finished watching Stranger Things Season 5, Part 1, Episodes 1 to 4. And yeah, that ending, as the kids would say, was fire. Some of it literally. Alright. Let's talk about it. I just finished it, so I just binged it like most of you probably did. So, that's a lot to take in. That ending is just like, what? This feels like it's going to be an episode 4 review, but it's not. All right. Calm myself down a bit. Let's try and focus. Now let's talk about Season 5, Part 1, and what's going on. I figure rather than go episode by episode, because I binged them, so they're all going to kind of run together now, we'll just do it all at once, and we'll break it down in an easy format. Things I liked, things I was on, and things I didn't like. And then we'll go to my notes, and we'll hit specific little things here and there from the episodes that I liked, but this won't be a beat-by-beat breakdown. So let's start with the things I liked. I like how in the intro to the first episode, it showed Vecna taking Will and attaching him to the thing, and essentially it's tying Season 1 into Season 5. So we're going full circle with it, like why he took Will in the first place, some big master plan. There's a few holes you could pick into it if you wanted to, but, we're only halfway through the season, so I'm not going to nitpick too much on things, especially plot-wise, because we don't have the entire thing yet. We'll save that until we know for sure everything that's going on. But the season so far has done a really good job of tying up loose ends and past threads that seemed random at the time. You know what I'm talking about. So I do like how the season's handled that so far. It doesn't feel so much like, John Kramer and Jigsaw as every movie went on. Oh, I was working with John Kramer the whole time. Kind of like retconning stuff. Something else I liked from the season is that we're not wasting any time. What I mean by that is we did the usual thing of, this group is here, this group is here, this group is here, this group is here. We had the people at the radio station, we had the people staking out this, we had the people investigating that. But it didn't take long at all for everyone to come back together with all the news they had that it was actually Henry and or Vecna being the one, obviously, that was behind it, which we all knew, and they knew too. We didn't waste a lot of time in getting to everyone back together. And honestly, we can't waste time. If you think about it, this is the last season, 8 episodes. We can't really drag our feet on what we're doing here because we have to, we know what's going on. Everyone else knows what's going on. Let's not waste any time. And I'm glad that's the approach we're taking. And I'm glad that everyone came back together and, united against trying to stop Vecna. We'll get into more of that later. So I like that it feels very purposeful and very deliberate. And it needs to. And I appreciate that. As a viewer and as someone who is enjoying the lore, I'm enjoying how they're unfolding this final season so far. It's not perfect, but what we are getting overall, I'm liking. Individually, let's talk about some of the characters. Let's talk about Will. Because that ending, holy crap, we'll get to it. But as a character, and from a personal standpoint, I like how they're handling Will and his sexuality. I know it might not be everyone's cup of tea. That's fine. Doesn't have to be. I don't care if it's not, really. To be honest with you, if you don't like it, I don't care. Because you don't know what it's like to be like that. I do. Growing up as a gay kid in the 80s, I'm old as hell. A lot of what he's going through, I can identify with. I did some reviews for Season 4 as well, and I talked about it then. I like how Robin knows. I like how he doesn't seem as chained down by his confusion or his feelings or his emotions and how scary it is. And I think that's something that heterosexual people don't realize. Whether you're a gay man or a gay woman or bi or whatever, if you don't fit into the norm, if you do not fit into the cutouts that society says you have to, you'll beat yourself up. You'll wonder why. What's wrong with me? Am I broken? Am I messed up? Why am I like this? And so all of the things that Will has felt through the seasons, especially in the season 4 and going into season 5. It's very identifiable for me personally. They grew up in Hawkins, Indiana. I grew up in a small town in Ohio. It's a Midwestern gay kid in the 80s thing. I know I'm not the only one. On a personal level, I really do appreciate how they are handling the growth of Will Byers and how he's growing into himself as a person. And, you know, and also taking into account, not only is he trying to figure himself out, he's watched his friends. He's watched like Mike and Eleven. He's watched Lucas and Max. He's watched his friend group start to discover themselves in a way that's natural and accepted. And he feels alienated. He has felt alienated for a long time, not only from the point of view of, you know, he lost a portion of his childhood from being, you know, in the Upside Down, but also he is hormonal. He's going through puberty. He's turning into an adult. And everyone, no matter like where you fall on the sexuality spectrum, everyone has to deal with the just turbulent, of puberty. It's tough. It's growing pains. It's called that for a reason. But it's on a different level if you don't fit into those, you know, cutouts that society has already made for you. And I appreciate the way it's been written. With Robin's help, because Robin is kind of like, you know, lesbian Gandalf. She's kind of guiding him in the journey. But I appreciate the way it's being written a lot. And I just think how they're handling his sexuality. And in that last scene in episode 4, really using it, like the love he has for Mike, using that as the catalyst for what he did. I appreciate it. How often does the gay character get to be the strong one? How often does the gay character get to be, you know, the hero that saves the day? Hardly ever. Hardly ever, especially in mainstream media. If anything, we're just the token character in the movie or the background character. You can't be too present, you know, front and center, because, you know. So all of that is very much appreciated from a very personal level. And I liked it a lot. I was really worried coming out of season 4 how we were going to handle Will Byers. And, you know, bravo so far. I think it's been really good. It's just so gratifying and refreshing that we have a character like this, portrayed like this, that's seen as, you know, essentially the main character as far as, you know, from season 1 to now, he's been the focal point. And to tap into that turmoil and that angst and that sadness and to turn it around. And yeah, really like it a lot. Of all the arcs for the characters, it's been my favorite so far. Another thing I like about Will is that he is this, as said, he is a focus of the story again. And it makes sense. He was the first one taken. You know, he's been the one that's been linked to Vecna, to the Upside Down, to all of it since the beginning. You know, in season 3, he took a back seat. Season 4, he was there, but Will Byers is front and center. And I think that's when the storytelling is the best. We're calling back to season 1, season 2. Again, makes sense. I'm glad we're hitting logical narrative plot beats. You know, the sexuality thing is just something personal for me that I really appreciate. But Will being like the nucleus that everything else is revolving around, as far as the connection and the power and the control, as we saw at the end of episode 4, that is just so nice. I think if you want to end the series, calling back to what made seasons 1 and 2 so strong is the way to do it. And Will was the central focus. And again, he is. And I really appreciate it. Speaking of a couple characters who I am glad kind of rediscovered themselves. Number 1, Mike. Mike does not feel like a backseat driver anymore. He's important again. I like that. It's not just because Mike is, you know, proxy to Will, you know, due to how Will feels about him. And something else I like about that is we're not really like beating over the head. Like, it's there. They're not shying away from it. You know, Robin's seen it too. But, you know, he's not in the background. That scene with Will and him in the back of that van and Will is crying, and Mike is just like, I freaking hate that scene. It's probably one of my least favorite scenes of the entire series. I just hated it. And I believe even Finn Wolfhard himself has said, I don't understand why my character acted like that. Like, my character is going to ignore someone who's crying, like weeping, openly weeping, a foot or two away from me? That's not verbatim, and I agree. I'm glad we're back to Mike being part of the story. I'm glad we're back to Mike and Will feeling like friends again. When for so long they just felt, Will felt so disjointed from the plot and from the relationships with his friends. It's not like that, and I like it. Overall, the friend group feels like a friend group again. Yes, they're getting older, and yes, they're figuring themselves out, and yes, etc., etc., etc. But everyone feels like a cohesive unit again, like they did in the first 2 seasons. This season really, I liked season 4. I did. Hated season 3. But I like season 4. But season 5 just feels like there's just the best parts of seasons 1 and 2. And good. I'm glad that Mike matters to the story. I'm glad that Mike matters enough to Will to be a catalyst for what we saw. I'm glad that we remembered that Mike and Nancy are related. How many of you forgot over the seasons? So, yay, Mike. I'm glad Finn Wolfhard has something to do. Awesome. Speaking of people who feel like how they used to, Robin. Thank you. Oh my God. One of the highlights of season 3 was Robin. One of the few highlights of season 3 was Robin. Season 3 was god-awful. And they had its moments. Don't get me started on the fucking never-ending story bullshit. Easily the worst scene in the entire series. I don't care. Fight me. Well, don't. You'll beat me up. I'm Mr. Glass. You'll win. But Robin is back. Thank you. The best new character that's been introduced. Some people will say Max. I don't mind Max, but Max is not Robin. Robin is awesome. In season 3 was intelligent and capable, and she felt like she held her own. In season 4, became the Mike. She took a back seat to the plot, to what was going on. And one could say it's because Robin and Nancy were together for a lot of season 4. And quite possibly Robin had a crush on Nancy. So maybe she was just kind of like awkward about it. That makes sense. But now we're back to Robin. We're back to season 3 Robin. Robin is smart. She's capable. She's a problem solver. I like that. Yes. Thank you for giving us Robin back. It's like season 5 has just been like cherry picking the best parts from all the seasons before and plugging them in to the 5th one. No complaints. Thank you for bringing Robin back. I get to like her again. I was really annoyed with her last season. And I did joke to a friend of mine. I said to him, what new fan favorite character is going to be introduced this season that they're going to kill off like they did in 2 and 3 and 4? They've really beat that dead horse. Hopefully no one. I can't say that I would be happy if someone from the main cast died. And there was a couple moments in this last episode of part 1, episode 4, that I was kind of like, what are we doing? I was really worried. Everyone's doing something though, and all these like interpersonal relationships, which some of them aren't really hitting for me. It's being written well enough so far that they're doing that cherry picking as said, but also no one really feels backseat. Although I wish one person would, and we'll get to it. And something I'm really happy about from the plot, Linda freaking Hamilton is in this. As a child of the 80s, I grew up with her. Linda Hamilton is awesome. She is a badass, a certifiable badass. Her and Sigourney Weaver redefined female badasses back in the day. I'm glad she is here. I'm so glad she is here. When I saw it was her, because I avoid the credits when I watch something. Once the credits hit, I got used to this from doing other reactions. I'll just look away from the screen and wait till the credits are over. So I didn't know she was going to be here. And when I saw her, I was like, yeah. I was super happy. All right, some things I'm iffy on. Don't love them. Don't hate them. They're not really mid so much, but I'm kind of like, right now. And the major one is Vecna's plot. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't hate it, as said, but I definitely don't love it. I do like as I mentioned earlier, that he's continuing what he started in season 1 with Will. You know, we had that opening scene, flashback kind of thing. Okay, cool. But now there's like a spire, and it's surrounded by a wall. And at first I thought the wall was there because he was in there healing from the battle. And then you have, I think Holly is her name. And she's in this land of Vecna's memories. And then Max is also there, who's in a coma. And we get that whole thing, which I don't mind. I don't mind that at all. I think it's a cool way to get Max involved. Initially, Max was in my Iphion area. I was typing out notes as I was watching. In addition to, episode specific notes, I was typing like overall things. I was like, is she just going to be in a coma the entire time? Yeah, but no. So I'm glad they're giving Sadie Sink something to do. But honestly, that's the only thing I'm iffy on, is Vecna's plot. But I don't hate it. I just don't know. It's just not hitting as strongly as maybe it is for you or other people. But we're only halfway through the season, so I'm not going to, crap all over it. We're obviously going to get more and learn more and hopefully stick the landing by the time we get to it, on New Year's. Although I am very shocked that Netflix did not raise the price of its subscription service in a way that just so happened to coincide with the new Stranger Things coming out, because they haven't done that before. Ugh. Hopefully one day the bubble will burst. Right now, it looks like there's no end in sight for the unfettered hyper-capitalism we are stuck in. Things I am not liking. Things I am not liking. The list is very short, because I did enjoy the season. I am tired of the spinny shit. Can we stop with the spinny shit? Only because, and this is a personal one for me, much like the Will sexuality storyline, this probably doesn't bother a whole lot of other people, except for me. I have really bad vertigo, really bad motion sickness. To keep a long story short, I've had COVID a couple times. I have long COVID. It fluctuates. It flares up and goes away and flares up and goes away. If you have it, I'm talking about. One of the side effects that I have, in addition to the asthma and the brain fog, which is, ever present. Please, medical community, find us some kind of vaccine, even if not a cure, vaccine that we can have like once a month, once every few months for people with long COVID. It sucks. I would like to have my mind back. I would like to have my lungs back, please. Back on track. Spinny stuff just really hits my motion sickness, vertigo stuff. That's why I can't play video games as much anymore, because just the whooshy movement of the camera, just, it sucks. Like, I've played video games since I was a kid. And to not be able to do things that you love because of health stuff that you can't help and it wasn't your fault, sucks. The spinny stuff from Will in the woods and Holly on the playground, they just, please stop. Please. Begging you. It's probably not going to stop, but oh my God. This is me watching, like, can you stop? Oh, are we done? No, we're not done. Like that. Yeah. And I mentioned earlier, I was going to mention a character that just, meh. I do not like Murray. I have hated Murray since he first showed up. The actor does a fine job. I'm not going to crap on his performance. He plays the character as it should be played. I just don't like the character. I find him obnoxious. I don't think he's funny. I realize he's there for the comic relief. You could really take Murray out of the plot altogether. Nothing really changes, and it's probably better. I don't think he's needed. I don't think he's necessary. Like, yes, he's smuggling things in for the cast, which is a little kind of like, okay, I'm going to look past it. It's a little absurd, but I'm going to look past it. But, I just don't like Murray. Again, I might be in the minority there, and that's fine. Just like I'm probably in the minority that I'm not really the biggest fan of Jonathan. Again, Charlie Heaton does a great job in the role. I'm not going to, crap on his performance. He's doing great. I just don't like the way the character's written. I don't like the I just don't like the character. Now, I don't dislike him nearly as much as Murray. I hate Murray. Whenever Murray comes on the screen, I'm just like, Jonathan is just kind of like, man. But yeah, Murray is just awful, and he can go away forever. I've not liked him one bit at all, ever. All right, let's go to my notes and see what I wrote down episode by episode. It's not going to be a rundown, of course, just things that stuck out.
Philip's notes.
Episode 1, what did I write? Robin gives a 10-minute long exposition dump in the beginning on the radio, which is fine. We find out that the military's there. They've quarantined everyone in. There's a metal band-aid over the cracks that formed at the end of season 4. The biggest success early on from episode 1, Will Byers gets a normal haircut finally. And they reference it later. Thank you. I know that Noah has asked to stop wearing the wig. I'm glad they finally let him. Thank you. And then I did like how in the beginning in the school when Dustin was getting bullied, I didn't like how Dustin was getting bullied, but I like how when the bullying was happening, the gang all reunited in the hallways to stand up to the bullies for him. I like that. That's how the gang reunited on screen. That was cool. My 5th note is, Murray. Then I made the joke of Steve versus Jonathan. And I wrote, oh, come on. There's no competition. Have you seen Joe Keery? Come on. I'm just saying. At first I was thinking, why are the military in the Upside Down? Like, the whole military thing, I didn't touch on it. Because I was saving it to talk about this. I think the whole military thing is another iffy thing for me. Like, I get that they've been ever present for a while, but I don't know. Like, yes, it brought us Linda Hamilton. She's awesome. She rocks. But I just don't know. I don't know. Like, the military thing, I don't hate it. I certainly don't love it. And I get it's a means to an end. But much like Vecna's plot, I don't know about it. So, yeah. And then I wrote, so a Demogorgon can just tear its way into reality anywhere it wants? Okay. That kind of raises the stakes quite a bit, you know? That's all for episode 1. Let's go to episode 2. So, the little girl, I think Holly, she is being attacked by the Demogorgon. And her mom is in the bathtub, a little tipsy, have a little tipsy bath. And her dad is out hitting golf balls. And she is screaming her head off. It made sense to a degree that her mom couldn't hear her. But I was like, why can't the dad hear her screaming? He was just outside. I get that they write his character to be completely oblivious. Just a very disassociative father. But, come on. That was silly. And I like the talk that Eleven and Hopper had. I didn't talk about them hardly at all, have I? I'm glad Hopper feels like Hopper again. I hated season 3 Hopper with a passion. I really wasn't digging what they did in season 4 with him. He's back to being like overprotective father figure to 11 Hopper. I like that. And 11, she's still badass. So, yeah. Everyone in their own way feels important, but it isn't like the 11 story anymore. And I like that. We're really doing a good job of balancing all the plates in the show so far. But he's telling her that she's being too emotional. And she says it's not emotion, it's instinct. I like that. And then we find out from Mike and Nancy's mom who Mr. Whatsit is. And of course, it's Vecna as Henry. So, again, no surprise to anyone watching. And that's all I had for episode 2, because I've already talked about most of it already that I had written down. Episode 3 was directed by Frank Darabont, which I thought was really cool. Really cool. I like him. A silly scene in episode 3 was the military is in the Upside Down, those military dudes, and they are trying to capture 11, and Hopper and 11 are behind that billboard, and they have their trucks in front of the wall. They hear her making the noises because of the kryptonite, those frequency that is, muffling her powers. And they just opened fire on the billboard, and I was like, we're trying to capture 11, but let's shred the entire billboard with her behind it. Military is dumb. Military is stupid. And then the teacher, that we haven't seen in a minute, is talking about the wormhole, which is happening in Erica's classroom, which Erica, the actress, does a phenomenal job in the role, but Erica is another character that can really get on my nerves sometimes. She was there at first, but then, she got better. But I was wondering, is this wormhole thing foreshadowing? Because it was, And then earlier, Will had seen Robin and her girlfriend making out in the hospital. And I really like that scene too, where he was just watching like the interaction of Robin, like just stroking her arm and just like, he wants that too. He wants to feel that too. He wants to be loved and desired by someone. She asks, did you see me? And he says no. And then later on he admits that he was there. And she says, I knew that was your goddamn bowl cut. And he says, yeah, they're not that popular anymore. Yeah, I'm glad they referenced it. Thank you. And then it's intimated that the military has Vecna. And I thought, what? No. No. But then I thought, oh, it's not Vecna they have. It's someone else. It was episode 3 that I put the pieces together who's back there. Which, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. And then the scene of them trying to capture the Demogorgon because they want to put a tracker in it. And they're basically home aloneing the house. That was funny. The weapons and the board and the like nails and the cutting the hole in the floor and the barbed wire ball in the basement. It was funny. And then the little girl who is trapped by Henry at his house is told to go to the woods. Go into the woods, even though Henry said don't go in the woods. But she got a note in the mailbox that looks like it's from Henry. You know, she eventually follows. And she sees someone and she runs away and the person's chasing her. She hides and she looks up and the person comes into view and it's Max. Yay! I like that. And that is episode 3. Let's go to 4. So they have Derek in the barn. And I wrote, you know what? Vecna can just go ahead and take Derek. I changed my mind again later. But it was like with Erica, it's like, man. And then the military is rounding up a bunch of kids to try and protect them. Because they're noticing that certain kids are being taken, I guess. Again, the military plot isn't the strongest. But the kids are on the bus and there's one that's really scared. And the teacher says, it's okay. These are the good guys. And I wrote, the military are never the good guys. And then there's a scene where they're going down into the hole to go into the tunnels. And Robin sees Mike and Will talking. Where Mike tells him that, he's a sorcerer. He's not a wizard, he's a sorcerer. Because his power is innate. It comes from within. And I wrote, aw, Robin sees that he likes Mike. Aw, I liked it. Then we get to the scene where Hopper and Eleven are trying to find out what's in that very, very back room. And this whole fight ensues with military and the Hamilton and all of it. And Hopper goes back there and, he has like explosives strapped to him. And Eleven is, of course, emotional and freaking out about it. But he goes back there anyway. And then eventually he comes back out to get her, take her back there. And the worst episode in Stranger Things history at least meant something. At least had some significance. It had a purpose. As I forget her name. But the girl that Eleven went on a side quest with, it's her. It's her. And I wrote, yep, called it. Then I wrote, at least it wasn't for nothing. I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all. Because now we have like her power of making people see what she can make. She can make people see anything. Then Eleven's power of like moving crap, telekinesis. And then Mike's new power. So do people derive their powers from the Upside Down? Because he had the nosebleed at the end and everything. I'm getting ahead of myself, but it ties in. It's gonna be interesting. Like is I forget her name, is the illusion lady going to make Vecna see something and 11 will lift him up and then Will just explode him or something. It's my early guesstimation. We're at the scene where the military has all the kids and it goes awry and the Demogorgons all show up to get the kids and they're attacking. But then Daddy Vecna shows up and Vecna is just wrecking shit left and right. Vecna is just, cleaning house. And the one part where he takes the pins out of the grenades, picks up the dudes, throws them into like the propane tank as the grenades go off and it explodes them, made me think a Stranger Things game where you play as Vecna would be a lot of fun. Like just that sequence just reminded me of a video game. Like how fun would that be to like use his power in an open-ended way? You could easily just pick somebody up and like throw them against the wall, but like you could do fun little combo things like that. So him doing that made me think of it. And then Vecna goes to Will and lifts him off the ground before Will is awesome at the end. And brings Will close to him and he says, I picked you because you're weak. I picked them because they're weak-willed, they're easily controlled. It was very easy to control you, to take over, that kind of thing. Then lets him down and walks away. And I wrote, why didn't Vecna kill Will? Like that's the one person that is connected to him. You sever that connection, Vecna has way more of an advantage then. Will being around is bad news for Vecna. He still has to know that, like, he's the reason the hive mind exists. So one would think that he would know that Will, unless he's like a sleeper agent, which okay, but Will was there and got out. Will is still connected. He has to know that. He has to. So I don't know why. Like, maybe I'm missing something. If I am, let me know. But I don't know. And that's all for all my notes. Anything else? Or from patrons over on Patreon. So there's a lot I probably haven't talked about. Those are the broad strokes with a little bit of shorthand in there. Overall, I'm digging it. I'm digging it. As said, this feels very purposeful, very deliberate, and no one feels wasted so far. And I appreciate that. I wish Murray would feel wasted. I wish Murray would just go away. Like, if we're going to sacrifice anybody to Vecna, I offer up Murray. Please take him. I will not shed a tear. All right. If you watched Stranger Things Season 5, Part 1, Episodes 1 to 4, what did you think? Let me know down below. And as said, there's probably something I'm skipping over. Probably something that I missed. So if there's something you liked that I didn't cover, let me know. I probably liked it too, but just didn't write it down or remember to say it. Brain fog, and my throat is getting scratchy. It's another side effect of long COVID. Sucks. But that's going to wrap this one up. As always, I don't have a fancy outro, so I will simply say thank you for watching. And I will see you in the next one. Until then,